Good day, Doctor. My name is Sanmugapireya Balakrishnan and my matrix number is 278530. Today I will be presenting my research paper and the title is The Impact of Cost of Living Among Students in College of Business, University Utara Malaysia. Without wasting much time, let's get into the presentation. Most of us are experiencing rising living costs. Sometimes I just wonder why is it happening. Before that, let's look at the cost of living. The cost of living is the sum of money needed to support one's daily existence. The increase in the cost of living that stressed us very much. However, the cost of living becomes an issue that makes it difficult for students to satisfy their basic daily needs. Is it true? Because students are forced to work part-time to finance their life on campus. So the purpose of this study is to investigate the impact of cost of living on students at COB-UUM. This study will also look at whether students' spending habits, living standards and income have a substantial impact on the living costs of students at COB-UUM. For the problem statement, we can say that the rising cost of living is a challenge for everyone, but it is particularly problematic for university students. Why? Because students are forced to work part-time to finance their life on campus, and students at universities frequently worry about money problems and expenses of living. So this study was conducted to assess the situation and give alternative remedies. 4 research questions for this study. First one, what are demographic characteristics of students in COB at UUM? Second, do gender differences affect the living cost among students in COB at UUM? Third, do different academic schools influence the living cost of COB students in UUM? Fourth, does spending style, living standards and level of income have significant relationship with the living cost of COB students in UUM? Objectives of the study. First one, to examine the demographic characteristics of living costs among COB students at UUM. Second, to examine whether gender differences affect the student spending styles, student living standards and student income at COB-UUM. Third one, to examine whether different academic schools affect the student spending style, student living standards and student income at COB-UUM. Last one, to examine the relationship between spending styles, living standards and level of income with the living cost of COB students at UUM. The justification and contribution of this study is to provide further understanding on students' expenditure, especially among students of COB-UUM. This study can be significant in giving additional knowledge regarding the study of this topic. Apart from that, the result from this study may be useful to scholars who are interested in furthering the study in this topic. In addition, we can say that it can also benefit the university to identify the difficulties faced by students and help those who are not financially stable. The scope of the study, which consists of targeted respondents, types of school in COB, sources of income and average expenses. The target respondents are among students at COB-UUM. Organization of the study as 5 chapters. Chapter 1, Introduction. Chapter 2, Literature Review. Chapter 3, Theoretical Background. Chapter 4, Data Analysis and Findings. And Chapter 5, Discussion and Conclusion. Let's look at the second chapter, which is Literature Review. The theory of living standard. We can say that people have high living standard based on their financial resources and standard of freedom. The standard of living as it relates to life's usefulness or satisfaction assumes that utility or satisfaction forms that cornerstone of living standard. For the student spending style, university students spend their money on basic essentials like food, books and other personal costs. Students from lower socio-economic background are more likely to have financial difficulties. Next, the level of income. A relevant economic measure of a place's level of life is income. Salary, wages, company revenue, rental income, investment income are the examples of income. Continue with Chapter 3, the theoretical framework and research methodology. For the research design, this paper focused on the cost of living among students in COB at UUM. This research paper has conducted a questionnaire for data collection because it definitely saves time. The type of study of this is a quantitative analysis. And then the source of data is a primary data. A questionnaire was used for data collection. The data obtained through Google Form, the data was gathered from the survey that is given to the respondents. And then unit of analysis are the undergraduate students from COB at UUM. The population framework, the population of COB UUM is 10,970 based on the active students list provided by COB. The sample and sampling technique, sample size for this research is 370 based on Craigie and Morgan table. Questionnaire design of this study has 4 sections. Section A, demographics; Section B, spending style; Section C, living standards; and Section D, level of income. For the measurement, the questions for this study are done by the Likert scale measurement, which is from 1 strongly disagree to 5 strongly agree. For the instrument, we have 1 dependent variable and 3 independent variable. 1 dependent variable is cost of living, and independent variables are spending styles, living standards, and level of income. The data collection procedures are each group members is in charge of creating their own survey from using Google Form, which is the questionnaire was distributed to the respondents of the students in the College of Business at UUM. This survey is distributed through an online platform including social media sites like WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and so on. Only 3 to 5 minutes were allocated for each respondent to complete the questionnaire. 1 week was given to the respondent to complete the questionnaire. For the data analysis technique, I use SPSS version 26, and the analysis are descriptive analysis, independent t-test, analysis of variance, which is known as one-way ANOVA, and correlation analysis. Now let's look at chapter 4, data analysis and findings. For this section, I use SPSS to analyze the data obtained from the questionnaire. The demographical background. In this section, it includes age, gender, semester, schools, sources of income, total income per semester, and average expenses per semester. As we can see, for age, we have 4 categories, which is 18 to 19, 20 to 21, 22 to 23, and 24 to 25. The highest respondents recorded is in between age 22 to 23, which is 141 respondents. In addition, we have gender of the respondent, which is 167 of male and 214 of female respondents. As we know, the majority of the respondent of the study is female. Then we have for the semester, which is semester 1 until semester 7, and the highest recorded is semester 5, which is 140 respondents. Besides that, we have schools, and the schools are SCFB, SBM, IBS, TISA, STML, and UUM-NGA. The highest recorded is 147 respondents from the school SCFB. Besides that, for the sources of income, we have from parents, from PTPTN, scholarship, JPA, and Jabatan Bank Rakyat. The highest recorded is from PTPTN, which is 146 respondents. And the majority of respondents' total income is from RM 2001 till RM 2500. And the majority of respondents' average expenses is from RM 2401 till RM 3200. Next, the descriptive analysis. In general, we can say that a mean square which is less than 3 is low, between 3 to 5 is moderate, and more than 5 is considered high. The total standard deviation of this study, which runs from 0.5315, the lowest, and the highest is 0.80408, which shows the data's variability is fair and reasonable. Next, the reliability analysis. I conducted this on the item section B, C, and D using Cronbach's alpha. For the spending styles, Cronbach's alpha is accepted in 0.785, which is above 0.7. And then for the living standard, 0.607, which is questionable because it is between 0.6 and 0.7. And for the level of income is 0.448, which is unacceptable because it is lower than 0.5. Next, let's look at the independent t-test. Let's say if the p-value is more than 0.10, that means there is no significant difference. For the spending style, the male respondent scored more than the female, but the p-value is 0.951, which is more than 0.10. So there is no significant difference on the student spending style among gender. For the living standard, the male respondent scored more than the female, but still the p-value is 0.592, which is more than 0.10. This also shows that there is no significant difference on student living standard among genders. For the level of income, still the male respondent scored more than the female, but still the p-value is more than 0.10, which is 0.298. So there is no significant difference on level of income among gender. Let's look at the one-way ANOVA, same like the t-test, which is if the p-value is more than 0.10, there is no significant difference. The p-value for the spending style is greater than 0.10, which is 0.485. So there is no significant difference of spending style among academic schools. For the living standard, the p-value is smaller than 0.10, which is 0.009. So there is a significant difference of living standard among academic schools. For the level of income, the p-value is greater than 0.10, which is 0.172. So there is no significant difference of level of income among academic schools. Next, let's look at the Pearson correlation analysis. Based on the table, it shows there is a significant relationship between spending styles, living standards, and level of income. The R value of spending style is 0.314, living standard is 0.199, and for level of income is 0.438. So this shows there is a strong relationship between spending styles, living standards, and level of income. Therefore, the null hypothesis H0G should not be rejected. See the last chapter, chapter 5, which is discussion and conclusion. Okay, to gather all the information, I can say that we came up with a questionnaire and distributed to the COB UUM students, and then I managed to gather 381 respondents, and I used SPSS version 26 to analyze all the data. Spending styles, living standards, and level of income does not differ among male and female students of COB UUM. Spending styles and level of income does not differ among schools, while living standards differ among schools in COB UUM. There is a strong relationship between spending styles, living standards, and level of income. Therefore, the null hypothesis H0G should not be rejected. Policy implication. This research can initially assist future researchers, particularly the final year students who must finish their thesis. They might utilize the materials in this report to help them finish their thesis. This research is also very beneficial to the students who are studying in colleges and universities. They might identify the impacts or effects that cause the cost of living to increase, and also they can save more and spend less. And also this might help the students in universities or the future students who will enroll in the university by them knowing the effects of cost of living. Let's look at the problems and limitation of the study. The first flaw is to not including any other variables that could affect or modify the connection between the variables. Actually, there are more independent variables that we didn't include. And the second one is the sample size, where the more respondents, the more data and accurate results would be obtained. And the third one, some respondents only quickly filled out the forms. Now let's look at the recommendation for the future study. It is suggested that the respondents are to be increased to all university students in order to aid in gathering of extra data. And then I would say doing a face-to-face presentation is better to get more truthful, precise, and factual data. That's all from me. Thank you.